Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 44th Mill Valley Film Festival and our North American premiere of Rickshaw Girl. Woo! My name is Joanne Parsant. I am the Director of Education for the California Film Institute. I'm also the Family Films Programmer for the Mill Valley Film Festival, probably the longest title on the planet. But it is my great pleasure to have this film in the festival. I want to thank a couple of important sponsors. First and foremost, the sponsor of this film in particular, the Jim Boyce Trust and Chris Otis. Huge supporters of ours for a very long time, and we are just so thrilled that they could be back again as a sponsor for this year's festival, just as we are incredibly thrilled that you guys are all back in the theater for this year's festival. I imagine, I'm curious actually how many of you are here at the festival for the first time? A lot of you. Welcome. I can't tell you how happy it is to be able to ask that and to have all these new faces. And how many of you are festival regulars? Thank you so much for returning. Thank you guys all for making it possible for us to be here and wanting to be here. And I also just want to send a special thanks to our theater operations staff that's done a tremendous amount of work to make it safe for us all to be here. We really appreciate you guys keeping your masks on and following all the protocols. We know it's not fun, but we get to do this, and that's pretty freaking fun. So this film is also part of we sort of restructured a little bit about how we're presenting films in the festival this year, as far as how you can find films that you might like to see if you like this film, or you want a particular sensibility of a kind of film. That we created these new strands that, in addition to our sections, like the family film section that this is in, this is also in our create section, which is films that are about the creative minds, the arts. You'll see in this film a really incredible artist, which is a huge part of this character's story. And just encourage you, if you're looking for other films other than this one, there are some other amazing films in the Create strand that are worth checking out that include things like Bernstein's Wall, Haute Couture, Boiling Point, The Electrical Life of Louis Wain. So it's a great way to kind of find your way through other paths of the festival, because we have a lot of amazing programs for you to see. This film makes me so happy. We get our films a lot of different ways, but this film actually was, particularly our feature films, we do a lot of research all year and try and track films down. This film was very beautifully handed to us through our call for entry process from the film's producer, who is local here in the Bay Area, and so this in a way is his hometown festival. I'd love to welcome Eric Adams up to say a little bit. He's the producer of the film. I think many of you know him. Cannot tell you how great it has been to work with Eric thus far to get the film to the festival, and we're just so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you, and likewise, I want to thank you and the festival. We were so thrilled when we got the call to know that we were going to be in the Mill Valley Film Festival, because it's a gem of a festival. It's understood throughout the world that this is the kind of festival that you want to be in, because people appreciate film. You do a great job of curating films here, and the fact that we're in here just makes us thrilled. So thank you very much for having us.
And I should mention that this film, in addition to being here on the screen on the theater today, and also again we added another screening because it was so popular on Monday the 11th at 1 p.m. here. So either if you want to come back and see it again, or if you want to tell friends, there's definitely still tickets available for that. But we're also featuring this film in our MVFF education program, which I have the great pleasure of being able to run as well, in addition to programming the films for the festival. And this year, all of our education programs we're offering online. They're very kind to let us to show the film online, where we have a great pre-recorded conversation with Eric and the director and one of the stars for students to watch. And we have thousands of students who are watching those films around the country, actually, during these 11 days of the festival. This year, a new milestone for us, 10,000 students, over 10,000 students are watching our Mill Valley Film Festival films this year online. So we're just so thrilled that Rickshaw Girl is part of that program and able to share this film with students everywhere. So we're going to have an amazing Q&A afterwards with Eric and the director, Amitabh Reza Chowdhury, who is also here, and the writer of the book that the film is based on, Mitali Perkins. She is here with us as well. Also a local Bay Area native. Was there something else you wanted to? Yes.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. Really so appreciate you coming out to see this film. We're so excited. This is actually the first time the film is being screened on a big screen in front of an audience. So this is a huge milestone for us to have this film here today. Also want to mention this film is 95% in English, 5% Bengali, and we made the creative decision not to subtitle that Bengali because I don't think we really need it, and I think you hopefully find the same as well. It's all at times that are very emotional, and the emotion comes out in the scene, we hope, and we just feel that it gave the film more sort of authenticity by just letting it be. So thank you so much for your kindness and that. Thank you.
So yeah, stick around for the Q&A. Enjoy the film. Thanks again for being here.
Thanks so much, Joanne.
It is my great pleasure to welcome back producer Eric Adams, the writer of the book Rickshaw Girl, Mitali Perkins, and our director all the way from Bangladesh. Please welcome Amitabh Reza Chowdhury. Thank you all so much for being here. Can Eric and Amitabh, just to start, can you talk about, I mean, a Bangladeshi Bay Area co-production is very unusual. Can you talk a little bit about how this project came together and how you guys came to partner on it?
We certainly thank you so much, yes. Thank you. What do you guys think? You like it? Amitabh Reza Chowdhury, incredible director. My wife and I, Kathleen, who is my associate producer, and the heart of this film and spirit, we had the luck to go to Bangladesh to visit Kathy's brother, who is the head counsel at the U.S. Embassy there. And when we were there, we were introduced to so many film people, including Amitabh, and we got to experience, as you saw, Dhaka, which is an incredibly colorful city filled with people and sounds and smells, and we were just captivated by it. And so we said, oh, wouldn't this be great to do a project in Bangladesh sometime? Of course, we came back to the United States, sort of forgot about it, and then Mitali's book sort of landed in our lap. And of course, it's a beautiful story, and we said, wow, here's a project, let's see what we can do. So we went back to Bangladesh, and we talked to Amitabh, and I begged him for about 6 months to come on board, because Amitabh is a very beloved director in Bangladesh. The Bangladeshis here, is this correct? Am I correct? Everyone loves his work. And so he was actually working on another feature film at that point, so we waited a few years. Then we spent 2 years developing this script, because it really took a lot to get Mitali's story and then turn it into something that was just a little bit more gritty, different, and what we felt we needed to do cinematically.
Nobody died in my book.
And so then we just started working on this project, and it's been a 5-year journey, and here we are.
And so Amitabh, when he came, and what was the convincing part of that?
I was very much fascinated by rickshaw painting from my childhood. We grown up with the rickshaw, and we used to roam around with rickshaw all of the time. So the rickshaw is a very inhuman vehicle. It's true. It's to be in Bangladesh now. It's actually now reducing the fact. But the form of it, the painting of it, that's very interesting. That fascinates me always. So when I got the story from that, and it's a beautiful story, and when Eric told me to make the film, so only thing that struck me, I want to tell a story about rickshaw painting. And these folk art, these street art, whatever you call it, and this form of painting had never been shown anywhere, and it was not very popular all over the world. And rickshaw painters also very much, they're also dying. Nobody is here. And whatever, that's the striking part for me. I want to make film on rickshaw painting, and that's why the animation part comes up and all these things comes up. And that is the most convincing part. And another convincing part is Eric's passion and dedication and his passion for making this film. And then I said, okay, let's give a shot.
So Mitali, how does it feel to you to see your book transformed into this film?
Wow, it's incredible. I was just so grateful. If you knew who Amitabh Reza Chowdhury is in Bangladesh, we are so blessed to have him be a part of this. It's incredible. So I'm so happy to have my mom here. My parents grew up in the villages of Bangladesh, and my dad isn't here anymore. But just to be able to see this beautiful story. I think there's three parts of a story. There's people, place, and plot. And so for me, the plot got much more interesting than my story. You know, just the classic film, the beautiful storytelling. The place was so rich and deep because of the authenticity. But the person, Naima, stayed quite the same, which I just love to see because she was courageous and she was just loved her family and the artistry, the passion she had for art. That stayed true through the book and the movie, so I'm so grateful for that. But you guys did much better on the plot and the place. So, yeah, so when you read the book, you'll see, if you read the book, yeah.
It's a beautiful book, by the way. It really is a gorgeous book. It captivates
Yeah,
Bangladesh.
well, thanks. It was rejected by many publishers. I have my agent here, Laura Rennert, it was rejected for years and years and years, got no traction, won no awards, won no anything, and then now my Naima kept pedaling along, and now here she is for you guys to meet her. So,
And how did you even come across the book? How did you find out about it and know that it was the story you wanted to?
Well, Mitali and I both teach at the Big Sur Writers Conference every year, or we have it for several years in a row. So we got to meet there, which was wonderful. And Laura Rennert, who is Mitali's agent, is also a personal friend of ours. So we had the very good fortune of sort of being in an inner circle and being able to talk to each other on a very personal level about the book.
So when it came to then adapting and, like you're saying, sort of expanding the plot, kind of how did you know which directions you wanted to go and which areas you wanted to flesh out?
Yeah, we didn't. Actually, it really took 2 years to develop this script, and we started with Bangladeshi writers, and then it was written in Bangladesh, and then we had to translate it into English, and that didn't really quite work. So then we had some U.S. Bangladeshi writers that we worked with, and then was translating in Bangladesh, and that didn't really work, and we just really couldn't figure it out. Amitabh then came to San Francisco several years ago, and we sat together for 10 years, and we sort of put the structure together that we wanted.
10
and
days.
What's that?
You said 10 years.
Did I? It felt like 10 years.
Felt like 10 years.
Really, it does.
10 days.
Yeah, 10 days. Thank you. Yeah. Well, and yeah, and then we gave it to writers. We gave it to a writer. We had two writers on it. One is a Bangladeshi American who lives in Los Angeles, and the other is a Bangladeshi who lives in Dhaka. And they really kind of, helped really fine-tune it so it would get to the place where we wanted. And even when we were shooting, we were still making changes to the script, and that beautiful ending, that animated ending, that was sort of a stroke of luck after the film was actually almost complete, and we said, boy, let's see if we can kick this up. We actually got into COVID, the COVID years, and we were like, wow, what can we do? We can't go to any film festivals. We can't do anything with this. So we looked at the ending and we said, let's see if we can improve it, and we got this.
It's a beautiful, beautiful ending. So Amitabh, obviously you said your focus is very much on the rickshaw painting. And that's how that all comes to life and the colors and the visual nature of it that you brought to it cinematographically. Can you talk a little bit about also who did the paintings, if you could talk a little about who the artist was, and how all of that was sort of folded into the framework?
The basic idea, basically, we did a whole lot of research of rickshaw painting. My assistant Shukarno actually did the research, and he found it out, and we met all the rickshaw painters with them. And then I have one of my friend, Farhana Hamid Ati. She actually came out all the conceptual ideas of the rickshaw painting. Then she found out one rickshaw painter named Soleiman Bhai. Soleiman Bhai is a very young rickshaw painter. He's a very young artist, and a very young, around 31, 32. And he's a brilliant rickshaw painter. She found him, and he actually sat together. And actually, Soleiman Bhai painted all the painting, whatever you have seen up there. I mean, that's everything, that big peacock, that rickshaws, background paintings, the roof painting. And that roof painting, actually, we could have done it in CG. But he actually did on the whole roof, like 7 days he worked, and they make the whole roof painted like this way. So actually, he's still there. and he's very weird person. We don't get him on a phone. We don't get him. He's a real artist. And I said, Sullivan bhai, in my frame, I don't need this. I don't need this peacock, this part. You just made this part is okay. Okay, come on, you are not artist. You don't understand art. Let me do it. So he just doing this thing. If you see that peacock's eyes and if you see the depth of it, that's brilliant. And I'm totally fascinated by two things. One is Solomon Bhai's painting of the whole process of filmmaking, and next is Naima. I should tell one thing: the Naima's performance and Naima's dedication. Actually, Novera Rahman, she's supposed to come here. She's in London now. And her dedication, the whole process of filmmaking, and there's her rickshaw pulling exercise and all these things she did brilliantly. So these two things inspired me, the whole filmmaking process, the whole making the Rickshaw Girl.
So yeah, Navarra Rahman, who's the lead actress who plays Naima, she was, as you said, she was supposed to come. We were able to get Amitabh from Bangladesh. We could not get Navarra from London. Such is the nature of our globe at the moment. But we had the privilege of doing an online Q&A with her earlier, and it was just remarkable to hear her experience. Can you talk a little bit about the casting, particularly of her?
We were actually, it was very difficult for me to get a right cast for this film, because one is I want someone who a really good actress, and Naima is a trained actor. But Naima means Novera. We call it Naima, but the whole process, I call her Naima. So Novera is a trained actress. She studied in Canada, and then she came to Bangladesh. And I want a good, really trained actress, one. And second one, I want someone who can speak English, because Eric told me that I have to make film in two languages, and Bangladeshi jara achen tader jonno boli eta ekta bangla version ache, seta apnara Bangladeshe gele dekhte parben. Sorry for that. So we have a Bengali version also, and that is actually Naima dubbed it. I mean, everything is in Bengali over there. So Eric told me that we want a film in English, so that's why we want an actress who is Bangladeshi and can speak good English, at least a decent English. This is two things. And third is I want someone who can paint, who is a real painter. Novera is a really originally painter. So these three things we were searching. So we actually screened many artists, and finally we come out with 6-7 artists on my cast, and I send it to Eric, all the screen tests, and I know Naima is the right cast for me, but I didn't tell anyone. I said, okay, you have a scene, have a look at it. And Kathleen and Eric was absolutely astonished by Naima and Novera, and said that she is the right cast, and I know this is the right cast for me. That's right.
Yeah, we were so thrilled to get her, and she was so dedicated. I mean, just to give you an idea of what it's like to shoot in Dhaka, Bangladesh, the noise is incredible. There are horns honking all the time in Dhaka. It's hot, it's muggy. We were shooting during the monsoon, so you would set up a shot, and then 5 minutes into the shot, there would be a downpour of rain, and everything would have to be covered, and we'd have to wait 30 minutes, and then take all it out and get the shot going again. And Amitabh, of course, led the troops through it all. And Novera, who's almost in every single shot here, each one of those takes is 5 or 6 or 7 takes. It's not just the one take. And all those times she's running through the streets, that's 3 days of filming. So she really put her heart and soul into it, and we thank her for it.
She did a lot of running.
Yeah, and in Bangladesh we have to maintain some kind of budget issues and everything. So we're not a good resource, and in making film is very difficult. Even we are a country like us, it's not easy process, and we don't have a good studios, and it's a very independent film. And it was really, really difficult for us to make the film in that short period of time. And we actually shot around 37 days. Yeah, 37 days of shooting. And it's really heat and in summer. So it was really hot on that period of time. And on that summer, Naima actually pulled all the time the rickshaws and all of the streets and everything. And whatever you have seen, the production design actually made up. That garage is actually, we made the garage in a studio, inside the studio. All the 2 garages inside the studio. And all these places, it's kind of a setup. It's not because we want, in Bangladesh, overall the visual vocabulary, it's basically gray. We don't have that much color on city. It's basically kind of a gray tone. But we want to make colors of it. Rickshaw painting has a very specific colors. That's why we want to make colors on it. That's why we painted all the walls and everywhere. So make some kind of colors to make it different. And it should look like, after the film, if you go to Bangladesh, if you see any rickshaws, or if you Google rickshaw painting, you see kind of similarities of specific color tone I used. And there's very, very specific magenta, very, very specific colors they use in rickshaw painting. And the form, the balance of two things. If you see, in one side, if it's a one peacock, you say, another side is the same kind of peacock is lying. If you see this, and there's kind of a composition also very different in rickshaw painting. So I use these things, and the narrative also use that form, like, and Eric and me was talking about hero's journey and all these things all the time, 7 days research and other things. And thank Mitali, so all your lab exercise and everything, which I don't like sometimes, all structured script writing, but finally I agree with Eric, okay, this way the film structure should be okay.
So I just noticed too, and like in the color palette and the color scheme too, that whenever Naima was being herself, she was always wearing oranges or yellows. And I'm just wondering if that had a particular. That
is rickshaw painting color. If you go to the rickshaw painting, you see the orange and yellow is very strong. And the most important things in 80s, the rickshaw you cannot paint human figure on rickshaw painting. That was banned. In Bangladesh, that was banned in 80s, where you cannot use human figure. So what to draw? I mean, that's why they started animals. They started animals. Animals eat drink, animal pulling rickshaw, animal driving car. So that's why the whole idea of animals comes on rickshaw, and they animal like a human. Instead of human, they use animals on that. So that's a history of rickshaw painting in Bangladesh. And sadly, it is. Now we have only maximum 1 or 2 rickshaw painter alive, maximum. No one there. Everyone died, or they because no money and nothing is happening on rickshaw painting now.
So one of the other things that I love is the way that you actually wove in cinema into the film itself, and her love for cinema, and then, obviously that important scene at the end where she goes to Dhaka Film City and meets her big, idol and star. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's very important, because actually the idea of rickshaw painting also, it's actually representation of our cinema posters. So it's kind of a connection of rickshaw painting and cinema posters. It's actually, people used it, before 80s, the cinema posters you also on a rickshaw painting. They use actors on rickshaw painting. After that, after the ban, they changed the idea of things. That's why in our this kind of people, they love our cinema, and our cinema has a beautiful vocabulary of the cinema, the song and dance and color, the fantasy, and that dream. That if we go to cinema hall, it's not a reality they want to see. They want to see a dream. So when Naima finally on this small window see this beautiful actor dancing with the girls, she dreamed, and that's beautiful. I found that's beautiful. And if you see the cinema, always gives you kind of a thought, a kind of a seriousness of life. But in Bangla cinema has dream in life, and that's finally is entertaining. Finally, it gives you happiness, gives you kind of happiness on your whole day you work. You go to cinema hall, you see that song and dance and colors, and that make you happy, and that's great for me, and that I enjoy, and that's I want to represent it. What Naima dream about, and that's the reality.
Yeah, she's so adorable when she looks up at him and he's on the rickshaw, and that part is so beautiful. The way she gives him that glance, and her heart's beating fast. That was just beautiful.
Is he actually a star in Bangladesh?
He's the Ryan Gosling of Bangladesh, basically.
I mean, he looks like he would be the Ryan Gosling. So there's obviously a lot about kind of gender roles and gender dynamics in the film. Can you talk just a little bit about what elements of that you wanted to get across, and how much of that is, kind of still true to life as far as, young women's experience in the city and being independent and if there are if there are other places where they're kind of not given that level of freedom like they're not in the rickshaw driving world?
Well, I'll just say quickly that one of the reasons I loved Mitali's book is because there was such a powerful girl at the center of it. And we felt like we really wanted to do a girl empowerment story, and that's what this is. And it's also, as Amitabh said, it's an artist empowerment story. One thing that we found in Bangladesh, and I know Amitabh will be better to talk to this, women's rights are, I think, probably more advanced than a lot of Muslim countries in Bangladesh. The prime minister is a woman. In the city of Dhaka, you see women walking around, no headscarves or anything. There are judges, there's cops, there's teachers. Women play roles in society at a very high level, and it's very encouraging to see.
In BB, there are no rickshaw puller women as such in Dhaka, but we try to search if anyone is there. But we got one person named Shumiappa, and we spend time with her. And she is like a man. You never felt she's a girl. She's very, very extrovert and it's very, very much male kind of attitude she has. And very strong lady, and I loved her, and that inspired me a lot. And Naima, even Novet also, we met her, we spent time with her, and she's very strong person. There are very few rickshaw pullers in Dhaka, and truly there is no rickshaw puller as such. But other like garments and all other places, there are all over the places women are working and very strongly working. They're like economic agent of our economies. So even the agriculture everywhere. Even if you see agriculture, I think, but I got a recent data that 52% women are working in agriculture sector. So actually, in Bangladesh, women are very strongly participate in our economy.
Well, and I love that line of there's no pride in being a man.
Yes, it's an amazing country because one of the reasons why it was doing so well economically before the pandemic is because women are stepping forward. But my grandmothers both in the villages back in those days there wasn't the opportunity, but it is changing, and there's things like microcredit, things like that are really making a difference for the girls, and you see them and they're so brave and they're so hopefully, as I said, I think I said I was the third daughter born. Did I already say that? Oh, yeah. So when I was born back in the day, and I was the third daughter, Sonali, Rupali, Mitali, and they came home from the hospital and they said, you have your third daughter, and of course everybody cried. So it's kind of fun to see this movie because I think now they're not crying anymore, which is good. But I think the fact that when a girl baby's born now in Bangladesh, it's not like it used to be where it was this big economic liability when they didn't have sons. So, and I think this movie shows that these girls of Bangladesh are so brave, so courageous, especially the ones in the rural areas. They're using their phones to set up businesses. They're doing all kinds of things that you wouldn't even imagine just to have some economic power.
Mitali, if I ask you, when you see first the film, we adapted a lot. I mean, we changed a lot. I mean, how do you feel about that?
What I did, I feel like you made it more authentic. You made it more Bangladeshi. I was born in Kolkata. My parents are from Bangladesh. They immigrated here. I write this little book about a girl in Bangladesh. Then somehow through Kathleen and Eric, it goes into your hands, and it's out of this texture and this beauty of, it's become more Bangladeshi than I could ever dream of. You think about my parents fleeing Bangladesh, what was now in partition, going to India, coming all the way around, back full circle. To me, it's such a gift from God that this was in your hands. I feel like it was beautifully done.
Thank you very much.
You told me you were going to cry, Mitali.
Yeah, I told her I was going to cry. I did.
True to your word. So given that, the uniqueness of this film, the fact that, that it's primarily, that it's in English, it's meant for, all audiences, what's your hope as far as who you want to see this film and how we can, because it's such a great opportunity to get that experience of Bangladeshi culture that we otherwise don't normally get to see?
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, we're one of the big decisions we made, and we talked about it a lot, Amitabh and I, is whether we should do this film in Bengali or English. Huge decision, obviously, not only creatively but commercially as well. And we made the decision, I think probably more than me than Amitabh, that to do it in English because we wanted to bring Bangladeshi cinema to the United States and Western Europe, to people that wouldn't see this film if it was subtitled or dubbed, because unfortunately in this country, the percentage of people that will watch a subtitled film is small, really, really small. So we wanted to make it in English so we can bring this cinema to audiences. Thankfully, everything is going great on the distribution front. We actually have an international sales agent that is working to make deals internationally. And in the past 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, we've gotten several offers for North American rights. So it'll probably be, thank you. And if I may, in the audience are some of our initial investors. And, you know, when there's a saying, you know, to be a writer, you need a pen. To be an artist, you need a brush. To be a filmmaker, you need an army. And it is really, really true. And armies cost a lot of money. And, you know, our investors, some from the South Bay here and some in North Bay, they were kind enough to have faith and confidence in us when this project was nothing more than a piece of paper with a synopsis and a couple of, you know, numbers, which are always magical anyway, and they believed in it. So I want to thank you all for being part of our film.
Well, I want to thank you all again for your beautiful film. Is there anything else you want to add, Amitabh?
No, I just want to thank everyone whoever বাংলাদেশ থেকে যারা আসছেন আমি চাও আপনারা বাংলা ছবিটা বাংলা ভাষাটাও দেখেন আর whoever comes from these community, thank you very much to watching this film. Especially thanks to my producers, all other producers, investors. Adil Bhai is who produced my first film, Aina Baji, and also produced this one with and Sagar Furidur Reza Sagar, who is also another big investor and producer of this film, and my company producers Asaduzzaman Shakal and Mazhar bin Reza, and my full team. I'll especially thank to everyone, and thanks to all rickshaw painters who actually still surviving, still actually doesn't have much money to survive, I know, but I just hope you guys come to Bangladesh, and if you meet all the rickshaw painters and do something with the rickshaw painter, that is the only wish I want from you whoever watch the films. This film is dedicated to all rickshaw painter who are actually dying or actually fading out their life. Thank you very much.
Thank you all again. Thanks for coming.
Thank you
Thank
so
you guys
much.
so much for coming.